Hello, 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 hello. Thank you for joining me tonight. I am Kim, and I just want to welcome you to a place for healthy conversations. I am also known as Ms. Empower. I'm going to give a few minutes for um, some of you guys to come in. So I'll give just a few minutes. Okay. While we're waiting, you can feel free to drop a comment. You can ask a question. Maybe you're new to the channel. Um, you're more than welcome, and I'll address those while we're waiting for more people to come in the room. Okay. I'll give a couple of more minutes and then we'll go ahead and jump in. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in. If you're out there and this is your first time on my channel, please put in the comments first time. I just want to welcome you all to a place for healthy conversations. This channel was created just to give people an opportunity to talk about things that are really important in the community and just talk about the healthy aspects of the different things that we see. So you'll see different topics on this channel. We've talked about love and what it means to be loved, the different actions that you should see if someone loves you. And so now we've jumped into cheating. And tonight's episode, we are actually reviewing a podcast called The Cheat Code. On the Cheat Code, um, it's 10 episodes of an affair that was had by a man named Jason and a woman named Andrea. And I chose this podcast because after I listened to it, there were so many things that jumped out at me that I felt like we needed to talk about as a community. Um, I'm not condoning what they did, but what they did by putting themselves out there is give us different things within the cheating to talk about. So, number one, just how devastating it can be for a family um, who has cheating that has presented itself into their household, their family. Their family becomes divided because of, and it devastates the family, devastates the home. If there are children involved, that is a lot for a child to have to deal with, because whatever came with that cheating, let's say the other partner found out about, their partner and found out that they were cheating. So now you're going to probably have arguments, the children are going to hear that, or there's a lot of tension in the home, and that's a lot, for children. So this podcast is not just focused on cheating. It's all the things within that. Like, we're talking about the different things that have transpired before the cheating started. You know, what may have caused the cheating, what type of thoughts that the two cheaters had in their heads before stepping into the cheating. So people don't just cheat. There is a lot of thought process in that. Trust and believe that. Anyone that cheats, they've thought about it. They may not have thought about the consequences or anything like that, but they definitely planned it out in their head of, what they were going to do, why they were doing it. They were justifying it in their head of why they were doing that. It's just like anything that you've ever done that was wrong, and you thought about it before doing it. You justify within yourself of why you should do it. So that's what that is. So I'm like, again, I'm saying I'm not condoning the cheating, but I just thought this was a good model to be able to break down cheating in our community. So I see I haven't gotten any comments out here yet. Uh So one more household thing, just make sure that in the comments that we are all respectful with one another. Um, if at any time you're watching this as a replay and you want to comment, you can do that. And I will definitely respond back to you and we can keep the discussion going. So the podcast that we are reviewing tonight is the cheat code. There's 10 episodes, but we're only going to talk about the first two tonight. And trust and believe you'll be ready for the third episode. You may definitely go out there and download the ACAST app to listen to the cheat code for yourself. And then that will give you more to add to the discussion, because this is a discussion. Um, so, again, it's 10 episodes. And so we're diving into the first two tonight. I really hope that this helps someone, helps a family, to get back on track and to be able to sit down and communicate about what they might be feeling. Maybe you're thinking about cheating. Maybe there's some things going on in your relationship, in your marriage, and you've really thought about it. You really have been thinking about it lately. Well, I hope that the different segments that we do on the cheat code will definitely help you to make a better decision for yourself. So the two characters, I'm going to call them, are Andrea and Jason. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about both of them. So Andrea is married and she has a daughter with her husband, and they are doing pretty good in life. They live in a big house. They both have really good jobs. And so they're doing pretty well for themselves. Jason. Jason is married, and at the time that Andrea and Jason met, Jason was married, of course, and his wife was pregnant and expecting a set of twin girls. So at the time that he um, meets Andrea, the twins have not come yet. So his wife is expecting. So the two of them are kind of going through some similar things in their marriage. Things just don't seem right to them. So Andrea, she's really not satisfied in her marriage, and she has a lot of things going on. So maybe she's gained some weight from um, having her daughter, her only child, and she has some different things going on with her. She's just not feeling good about her. She's not feeling good about the marriage. And hey, Gail, thanks for joining. And so she is thinking that she really can't really pinpoint what it is, but there's something that's not right within the marriage. But she's really thinking that it's a possibility, it's her, it's something about her um that is making her feel that way. But it's really a combination of the two. There are some things she's going through. She just had a baby. You go through a lot after having a baby. Um and because as women, when we have children, we gain weight, we go through, and not every person, but um most people go through postpartum depression. If you've never gone through it, consider yourself blessed. But you really go through a lot, and usually it's really hard for the husband to understand, because maybe because he's not going through it, so he doesn't really understand it. So unless he's researched it, or he's talked to people that has been through it and they really break it down for you, he really doesn't. But he still can't feel it, so he really doesn't know exactly how to comfort his wife. And we don't really know if he was even looking to do that either. So Andrea's dissatisfied with that marriage. She thought about cheating, because in her mind, she's not leaving her marriage, but she'll think about maybe stepping outside of the marriage. But the only way that she's going to do that is if she meets somebody that she knows that would have as much to lose as she has to lose. And if she doesn't know you, and she knows nothing about you, she don't know your family, she has no way of getting back at you if something goes wrong, she's not doing it. So she hadn't cheated on her husband at that point. Now Jason, he's kind of in the same boat. He's really unhappy in his marriage as well. He feels that as a husband, he's done everything that he could possibly do in his marriage. And all the things that he was taught by example, he sees those things and he's trying to put those things in place, but those things are not working for him. It's like it's still not, that marriage is still off track. It's not, he's not happy. It's a void. Something's missing and he doesn't really know what it is. Kind of like how Andrea felt. So with him, he has gotten to the point, although his wife is pregnant with twins, he's really thinking about cheating. So Andrea and Jason, they have a mutual friend. And so this mutual friend is this type of person that throws parties. He's the life, throws parties. He's the life of the party. So he has a party, and he's sends them an invitation. And so when Jason got his invitation, he was like, bet, I'm going. This is my opportunity to do something outside of my marriage, because what is going on here, I'm not happy and I have to do something. I can't leave her, but I'll do something outside. And so we're going to come back and address that in a minute. Andrea, she got her girls and they're going to this party and they're just looking forward to having a good time. Andrea's not thinking about cheating with anybody. She just wants to go and have a good time. And she's really feeling herself. So they go to this party. So let's dive into this a little bit. I want to go back a little bit. So both parties, Jason and Andrea, truly believe that it would be better for them to step outside of their marriage with someone else to fill that void that they're missing in the marriage. They don't even feel like they could sit down and talk to their partner, because they don't even know what they would tell them. Andrea, she can't even put her finger on what it is that she's feeling. She just feels like it's something within her. Have you ever felt like that in your marriage, in your relationship, where you just feel like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel right, but I don't feel the comfort to go and communicate this to my partner? I don't want them to, start feeling away, and I don't really know what I'm feeling, but I don't want to leave them, but I just want to feel this voice, so I'm going to step outside. Something's wrong with that, because I feel like at some point you have to learn how to communicate with one another in a marriage. If there is something going on, even if it's uncomfortable. Hey, Angela, thanks for joining. Even if it's uncomfortable, guys, you still have to sit down and have that conversation. Even if you think that the partner is going to be upset, you still have to have that conversation, because you're going to have disagreements. But guess what? It does not have to escalate into anything huge if you guys know how to communicate with one another. So those are things that I like to talk about as well, is the communication and the communication styles that we have, because we have to learn how to talk to each other. Men and women are already different people. They think differently, they talk differently, they perceive, they receive information differently. So whatever it is that you said to them, um, a woman might have said to a man, he is receiving it possibly in a different way than what she really meant. And whatever the man has said to the woman, it's the same thing, because we're different people. And that's why it's important to communicate, because in the communication, it gives you the opportunity to sit down and actually get to know one another and understand how your partner thinks, so that when you do say something, you know, you can say, this is what I mean by this when I say this. I know you're thinking, why should I have to do that? But it just kind of um gives some peace in the relationship, and you don't have to always be at each other. Period. So so let's move forward. So the two parties, they went to the party with their for their mutual friend. So Andrea and her friends, they were there before Jason. And so everybody in the party was supposed to leave together and go to another spot for the party. And so they're all ready to leave, but somebody still hasn't showed up. So Andrea goes to the mutual friend and say, "Hey, what's going on? Let's go. What are we waiting on?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm waiting on my boy Jay Vaz. I'm gonna just say Jason, because I'm about to mess his name up." And so he started trying to tell her and explain to her, "Hey, you know him." And so she's listening, but she's like, "I don't know who you're talking about." So she goes back to the table. So then Jason comes in and she sees him and she's like, "I know him." So she walks up to him, but she knows him, but she doesn't know him from where the mutual friend was trying to say that she knew him from. She didn't know him in that manner. She knew him from high school. There was a party that she had went to, and it was a bunch of them. And when they all left together, they all got on the train together. And she remembered that this stop that he got off on was not a stop that most Black people would get off on. And so that's how she remembered him. But she walked up to him and, she's talking to him. She's saying, "Yeah, I know you." And he's like, "Okay, that's what everybody say." He feeling himself. He's thinking she's fine, and she might be the person I'm going to cheat with tonight, right? Okay. She's not in that headspace that he is at that time. So he's talking to her and they finished. Okay. So they finished talking. She went to the table and then he went over. And so he continued talking, but he was trying to talk to her when they were in the car together because they were going to the other space. And she just wasn't feeling him in that way. She was not interested in dating someone outside of her marriage that she did not know. Because whoever it was, again, had to be somebody that would had something to lose by being with her. And so she didn't know him, so she wasn't messing with him. He offered to buy her a drink. Um, he offered to do something else, but she declined. She was like, no, no. So he continued on, but then he just enjoyed himself at the party because he realized, okay, I have no chance with her. So the next day, the mutual friend they were talking on the phone. The mutual friend and Jason were talking on the phone. Jason asked him about her, and the mutual friend said, well, I can call her. And he was like, no, don't do that. Well, regardless of what Jason said, the mutual friend reached out to Andrea, and he told him that, excuse me, he told her that Jason was interested. And so she was like, in her head, because the mutual friend was an F boy, anybody that knows him and mess with him gotta be an F boy, and I'm not messing with him. So she was like, no, I decline that. I'm not interested in that. So when they got off the phone, she decided that she would get on Facebook and find him and start researching him. She's stalking him on Facebook now. How many of you have ever stalked somebody on Facebook just to get a feel for who they really were? Because you really sometimes can really figure out the type of person you're dealing with from social media, just the things they post. And I can't say you can get it from pictures, but and then sometimes you might not be getting the real person, but she's on there and she's stalking him. I'm sorry, guys. She's stalking him and she's getting to know him. Angela, you have? And so she's getting to know him, and they are talking, but not one-on-one conversation. Maybe he posted something, she commented. Maybe she posted something, he commented. So they're doing that openly. And Andrea said that his wife occasionally would get on there and post something like, okay, this is my man. She wanted everybody to know that that was her man. And so as she's on there, she's looking through his pictures and she sees a picture of him with a mask on and a gown from a hospital, and she realizes that, oh, he just had twin girls. Not at that time. It was a little bit later. So at this point, they're just, kind of interacting openly. They haven't gotten to that point. Now, he sent her a DM on Thanksgiving and said Happy Thanksgiving, but that was it. It was never a personal email or a DM at that time. So my thing was, when she saw that this man was married, when she saw that he was married and that he had twin babies that had just come, like, why? That part I don't get. Why would you stay in that? These are new babies. If he's willing to cheat in that way, but I guess in her mind, she's thinking, if I do this, it's because I'm just needing something outside of my marriage, because I don't plan to leave my husband, but I need something. So as she's looking at all that, she's thinking, oh, well, he seems pretty cool and like maybe I can talk to him. And so I guess she figured, oh, he has a lot to lose. He has twin daughters. The babies were just born. He's married. Okay. So they continue, talking to each other. And one day she posted a picture that he just thought was so gorgeous that now, instead of him just commenting up under there openly, because maybe his wife might have seen it, he went in her DM and said, stunning. And so he was waiting for her reply. And so in her reply, she's thinking, how should I reply? Do I really want this? Because I know if I say a certain thing, we might start going down this road. It could go left. It might not be right, I don't know. Is this what I really wanted when I requested his friendship? She's asking herself all these questions. So she responded back, "Thank you, sir." Not what he was expecting, but at the same time, she was like, "I'm not ready for that." So she's kind of on the fence whether she's going to do this, you know, step outside the marriage thing. Because actually, when people cheat, it's an 80-20 thing. So the spouse is the 80%. The 20% is that person that they are cheating with who really don't have everything to do with them. You know what I'm saying? So whatever it is that you have to deal with your spouse and talking about bills, life insurance, the kids, you know, the job, just everything that you guys need to talk about with one another. You don't do that with your 20%. And so you're not really concerned about all that. You just want somebody over here that's going to give you what you think that your spouse is not giving you. The question is, though, have you communicated to your spouse that you're missing something? I feel like the moment that you communicate that to your spouse, they should be willing to have the conversation. Okay, so why do you feel that way? Or well, maybe we aren't doing that. Or maybe you could be missing that. Well, maybe I could do this. Or what would make you feel something? We got to have some conversation here. We got to talk about it. You just can't say I'm about to go over here and get 20% and fill this void. Like, no, that's not what you do when you sign up for marriage. Now, when you're in a relationship, whether it's you guys are living together, I just consider that the same. Or if you're just in a relationship and you have a purpose, like you have intentions on having something um really secure and what I want to say, guys, just having a relationship that is going somewhere, right? I feel like communication is good. You have to start with communication, because if you start with that in your dating life, then when you move on to marriage, not to say you're not going to have issues, but at least you have the communication part down and that you can actually talk about it. So, um, I probably got off track there. So anyway, Andrea's trying to decide. She's trying to decide in her head, what am I going to do? But like I said, she responds, "Thank you, sir." So he responds back to her, and they start talking, and then they go back to the just talking on the Facebook. Well, at some point, they decide to exchange phone numbers. So they're exchanging work numbers. That's safer, right? So do you ever think about why it is so easy for somebody to cheat and not get caught and not be seen? A lot of times it's because they have somebody that's backing them up. Maybe somebody's vouching for them. Somebody is saying, like maybe they say they're going to be with that person. Why I keep feeling like something behind me? Anyway, they have somebody to vouch for them, and that makes it easy. Maybe they have a spot they can go to where nobody would see them. So these two, they're talking on the phone and at work, and at some point, Jason's job is having a happy hour, and he invites Andrea to come to the happy hour. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's safe for him, but why is it safe for her to go to this happy hour? You know, so this is what happened. So Andrea, she went out with her friends first, and on the way back, she stopped there at the happy hour. So that meant she didn't have time to stay. Like, she could stay for a little while, then she'll leave and go home. With Jason, at the work event, nobody likes his wife, so it was safe for him to bring her. And I just was like, that's what makes it easy sometimes, because hold on. Okay, so Angela says, I believe anyone who cheats no longer loves or cares for the person they're currently with. And I'm so honest about that. I know I talked about that last week about the cheating. Like once your partner steps out and starts cheating on you, then they're not really interested in that marriage. Now, let's go back to Andrea and Jason because they said they would stay in the marriage, but they would just deal with each other outside of the marriage. When you get to that point, to me, I feel like you should go separate ways. But the way they were raised, you stay in a marriage. You don't divorce. You deal with it. You either cheat or you just walk past each other and don't say nothing. Like the other one is not there. And so I just think that that has been normal for so many years in our communities. And it's devastating to the household because don't you know if you're walking past each other and you're in front of your kids see that. And when they grow up, they're going to say, my parents, they didn't even show love in front of us. Like we didn't see our parents loving on each other. And I'm not sure what the situation was in your household, but that's what it was in my household. I saw a lot in my household that I promised myself when I became older and became married, I would never have that. And when I married the first time, my husband and I, we sat down and we talked about that because he saw it in his household. I saw it in my household, and we didn't want that for our kids, so we weren't going to do that. But this was the kicker. When we were upset with each other, we didn't talk to each other. We wrote letters to heal our relationship, to get back on track, instead of sitting down having a conversation. The letters would spark the conversation, and then we would start talking. And so that's dangerous. That's dangerous grounds because that's not healthy. That's very unhealthy. That's very toxic. You should be able to talk to each other. Maybe you don't want to talk that day. Maybe it takes you another day to be able to sit down and have a reasonable, healthy conversation. That's fine. But we have to learn these things. So what I want to look at as well is those thought processes that Andrea and Jason had before even stepping into cheating. Now, at this point, they have not slept together. So in their minds, they don't feel like they're doing anything wrong, but they really are because they're emotionally attached. So if you're somebody who's married and you are on a dating app and you're talking to people, you are cheating. If you have somebody at work that you're talking to about your issues at home, you're cheating because you're in an emotional relationship with this person. They're listening. You might be listening to them, and that might put you together, and then something can happen. You can wind up having a relationship with them. So let's get back into the cheat code. So at this happy hour, as Jason was walking Andrea out, they kissed for the first time. And that kiss just pushed them so forward into something that they would never ever recover from. So doing that, now they are no longer interacting on Facebook openly. They are in the DMs now. They're talking back and forth with each other in the DMs. They are talking on the phone at work. They are now making plans to meet up for dinner or lunch openly in broad daylight. They're still married and they're doing these things in broad daylight, not even caring, you know. And Andrea was really starting to feel some way about him. So she sent Jason this song. It was a Jill Scott song. And that song was pretty much saying, baby, I'm ready for you to be in my space. And so he didn't respond, and she thought it was odd. So the next time she saw him, she brought it up. And he let her know, hey, don't start that. Don't start sending me stuff like that because that's not what we have. And don't do that unless you're ready for that. We're not doing that. Neither one of us are leaving our spouses. So don't send that type of stuff to me. And I just thought that was wild. But I get it. He didn't want his mindset because he already set his mind up that she's his 20. And this is just who I'm going to deal with outside of my marriage because at home I ain't happy. So they are, like I said, they're doing everything together now. And let me see. After now they're in this full-fledged relationship. I know I had some questions for y'all. Um, and it's like even though they are having dinner and lunch together out in the daylight, they're not talking about leaving their spouses. They are not. They are definitely not thinking about it. It is going to be the 80-20 thing, right? So Andrea talked about having a good day with her husband. Now, all through this time of her dealing with Jason, she has not. Neither one of them have been discussing their spouse at all. So Jason's birthday comes up and his wife has a dinner for him. So, Andrea, she feels some kind of way about this dinner that he's going to, even though she's his 20%, right? So how can you be upset? You're the 20%. That's his wife. Whatever it is she want to do with him, she can. So he did the dinner, and then I want to say maybe a week later, he got really sick. And so she was really upset. And she texted him and she said, I really hope that you're okay because I don't know what I would do without you. And she said some other words that people say when they are in love. And that was those famous 3 words, I love you. Right? So the next day, her and her husband, they're together. They're sleeping together. They had drinks together, just having a great old time together. Wake up the next day, she goes to the hairdresser. She leaves her electronic device open. And when she comes home, he comes in the kitchen and says, I need to talk to you. So he comes in that kitchen with that laptop and he says, who is Jason? Right? And that's where episode 2 ends. Where is Jason? Who is Jason? So now he knows that she has something going on with somebody because you don't just say I love you to anybody. That person wasn't a family member, so who is this? I don't know this person. And he had his laptop because he started doing his research on this guy. He want to know who he is. Why is he talking to my wife? So, guys, when we get on here next week, we're going to dive into episode 3 and 4, which is going to blow your mind. But I want to make sure that I feel like I skipped over a few things because I was not looking at my notes. I was just talking. Now, Jason and Andrea, they really, really had gotten so close with one another to the point that we know they were out together all the time for lunch and dinner and talking on the phone. But now they're talking about sex in the way that they're talking about how much they love sex, how they like it, how they don't like it, the bad experiences that they had with sex. So they're moving on to this next phase of their relationship. So I can't wait to share with you guys on next week, episode 2 and 3. But there are a few questions that I know I have for you guys to just think about. So which one of them do you think really got this started? So was it Andrea by requesting Jason's friendship on Facebook? Or was it Jason going into her DM saying you're stunning? Which one do you think is what really pushed them over? They both are wrong, but which one do you think really pushed them into this relationship? Because if you think about it, even if she didn't request his friendship, he could have done it for, he could have, requested hers, and they still might have hooked up in some type of way. But what are your thoughts, guys? Go ahead and get in the comments and just tell me what you think, and so we can dive into that. Hold on. Because, okay, let me say this. With them being on Facebook together, they really started to realize that they had a lot in common. So Gail said it was Jason when he was getting ready for the party. Um, which party are we talking about? Are we talking about, okay, so the initial party where they met? Is that what you're referencing? Because he already had in his head that he was going to find somebody to be his side piece that night. That was his opportunity. He got this invitation. He's going to this party. Um, so yes. So hey, Real, thanks for joining us. She says, I'm so sorry. I have not a clue. I feel lost. Okay, so we talked about the cheat code last year on Facebook, where there were two couples who had an affair, and it was talked about over 10 episodes. That is what we're diving into now. So I just finished up the first and second episode. And so we're just kind of talking about things in general, about cheating and family, and just what family goes through when these type of things happen. Okay. Okay, Gail. So yeah, so it's like, so Jason already had in his head that this is what he was going to do. Andrea, on the other hand, she wasn't willing to just do it with anybody. It had to be somebody that she knew. So do you think she would have reached out um, to him if, well, do you think she would have reached out to the mutual friend if Jason didn't reach out to her to tell her about him? I kind of don't think she would have. I think she would have kept it moving. Um, but yeah, Jason already had in his head that he was going to find that person that night. It just so happened at that moment, she just was like, no, thank you. I don't know you, and I'm not trying to deal with you. So that was my question. And then, ooh, sorry, y'all. Uh, so why do you think people will choose to stay in a marriage or relationship and step outside of the relationship? Why do you think people would will do that? Besides the fact that we know so many of them have seen that in their childhood coming up with other adults. But why do you think people decide to do that versus try to work through whatever it is or just divorce? That's a major question that I have. It just seems too easy for somebody to say, okay, I feel a void here. Things are not going the way I want them. I'ma just cheat instead of just talking to their partner and trying to work through it. So I feel like if you don't want to work through it, and you feel like you could just walk past your partner, or you could just cheat on them, I just think divorce. Divorce is better. Why stay in that? Because nobody's happy. And I feel like both parties deserve to have some happiness in their marriage. If you can't sit down and you can't figure it out, you're not willing to go the extra mile to, see what it is that you could do to get it back on track, then maybe you weren't supposed to be together. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Yeah, we got this. Okay, so let me ask this question. Why do you think that people choose to cheat? To me, I feel like it's a cowardly thing when you cheat. When you choose to cheat over trying to work it out or leave the relationship, I just think that's a cowardly thing. Because when you cheat on someone, you really break them in so many different ways. You break their spirit, you break their heart. And it's devastating to recover from because you start to question yourself. Am I not am I not, and this is from a woman's point of view, am I not beautiful enough? You know, um, am I not enough? Am I not doing what it is that you need? You just start questioning these different things about yourself. And a lot of times it may not be about you. It could be about that other person, but then it could be something that is between you two, but that person is just not knowing how to communicate that. And there are people out here to help you with that. There are marriage counselors. Um, there are relationship life coaches. There are plenty of people out here to help you guys with these different things, because especially when we start talking about, it's not just if you have kids, because what if you don't have kids? You still need to think of your partner and what you are putting them through by stepping out of a relationship into this 20%, over here. So I can't wait to talk about episode 3 and 4 with you guys, because I'm gonna ask you guys stay on this ride with me, because every episode gets better and better. It's a lot of drama involved in this. And I'm not just talking about this just because of the drama. I'm not talking about this just because we're talking about cheating. And I'm in no way condoning cheating. Trust and believe that. But this just gives us a model to break down the different things about cheating. Like, where did it start? Why, why do people cheat? Why do they choose to do that? And just the whole process, the thought process that they have in their head. Like Andrea and Jason, okay, I can't leave my spouse, so I'm gonna just cheat. But I just want to get a little deeper into that. Why choose that? At some point, I feel that we can't have a marriage based on what we saw coming up. Your marriage has to be your marriage, whatever that is for you. You guys can create the marriage that works for you guys, and you don't have to do that. Um. So yeah. Are there any comments or any questions on what I said? What we any part of the story? I'm gonna make sure that I didn't leave off something real quick, guys, because like I said, I didn't follow my notes. I just talked today. Yeah, I just find it unusual that um that you can be emotionally involved with someone while having a spouse over here. Like that's too much. That's living a double life. Maybe you don't have to do everything over here with the 20% that's then what you have to do with your 80%. But you took vows for a reason. So Rail says, I think people cheat because of traumas in their life and or learned behaviors. You know, that's funny that you say that about learned behaviors because I had somebody to address me about learned behaviors. Yes, a lot of times in our communities growing up, we saw that that's the type of stuff that happened in the different homes where there was cheating. There was more than one family that, you know, the father might have had because of the cheating. And, but in no way did that ever say that that was okay. Like, any person to look at that situation knows that that's wrong. So why would you want to go and duplicate that? You know, because a lot of children missed out on their relationship with their fathers because they had more than one family. You know, it's not the same as a blended family because the mother, the wife over here, the spouse over here is not supposed to know about this family over here. And it's not to say that women haven't done that, but I just it don't matter whether it's a man or a woman. It's wrong. It's wrong. And I want to talk about this because I want us to get in a place where we can just cut that out. Like it it's not necessary. You hear so many times now that people are getting into relationships where they can have more than one partner because that is just simply what they want to do. But those people still cheat in those type of relationships. So to me, I think it's just um, the fact that you are doing something that somebody doesn't want you to do. Learned, yeah. So even if you learn that behavior, just like there's a lot of people that learn to abuse people, you know, in their lives because that's what they saw coming up. They knew that was wrong as well, you know, and that's something as well that should stop. Just because it's learned doesn't mean that it's right and that it should be acceptable because I think that people will accept it because they feel like their partner learned that and that they don't know what they're doing. No, you know right from wrong. You know right from wrong. And if you choose to marry somebody and you take these vows, then you should choose to stay in your marriage and not step outside of your marriage. Simple as that. And if that's something that you want to have more than one relationship, then I think that maybe you should leave that relationship and go find somebody that wants the same thing as you. So, guys, I'm going to come to an end on tonight's conversation unless anybody has another comment or a question. I'll give like a few minutes because I know it's like a delayed reaction. So next week we will dive into episode 3 and 4, where we will learn more on um, what was going on with Andrea when her husband questioned her about Jason. Let me see. I might have added something else down here. Maybe I did not. Nope, I didn't. So episode 3 and 4, we're going to learn more about that and some other big news that it's just going to make you say, what? So we're going to dive in and talk more about it on next Tuesday at 8 p.m. right here at a place for healthy conversations with Kim, also known as Ms. Empower. One more thing. When we finish the cheat code, we're going to dive into other conversations. One being conversations about um, the mother daughter relationship, the mother son relationship. It's time to start working on these relationships and creating healthy relationships with your children, whether they are young or grown. Uh, where were sounds like ATL water? I don't think it was ATL, but I don't know. I don't know if they ever said that. And maybe if they do it, I'll find it as we keep going on. Or maybe I'll look at one of their interviews. So anybody that wants to go out there and listen to the cheat code, you have to download the app Acast, and that's CAST. And then just pull up cheat code and you can go ahead and start listening. That way you can dive in the discussion, and we can have a little more discussion going on. So with that being said, guys, I look forward to talking to you guys. Anyone who is having a relationship dilemma, or a family dilemma, you are welcome to send in a letter to Ms. Empower, and that's MZZ as in zebra, empower at gmail.com. And I will definitely read it and we will discuss it. Okay, guys. With that being said, I look forward to seeing you guys again on next Tuesday. Have a great one.